Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Gotham Chess Slow Run. In this series, I started at 400 on chess.com. I've recently crossed 1700, and I'm explaining my thought process and the kind of games that you can expect at every rating, every step of the way. Now we are 1700. The level is only getting higher and higher. I'm having to put in some serious effort to win some of these games. But we are still learning every single game, and every single game is feeling a little bit different, whether the game is positional, tactical, unorthodox, etc. So let's see what happens. Let's get into today's games. As always, this series is brought to you by me. I am the sponsor. If you like this educational content, pre-order that book. It's for intermediate and early advanced players. Or get a ticket to the tour, where I will be October, November later this year. Can't wait to see you all there. That's the intro, less than a minute. Let's jump into today's games and see what happens. For the first game, I'm going to open up with pawn to e4. I feel like I've played, Caro-Kann. I feel like I have played a lot of d4. Now, my favorite way to face the Caro-Kann, where are the speakers? Why am I not getting any audio? Oh, there we go. Okay. I was muted. I don't know why it was like that. Okay. Now, the Caro-Kann, my favorite way to play against it is either the advance or the fantasy variation. This move, pawn to f3, I have a video called One Pawn Crushes the Caro-Kann. I have literally never seen that move. I've never seen that move. Oh my God. I don't think it's that bad of a move, but the idea of the fantasy Caro-Kann is to trade in the middle, get a very big center with pieces, and even though f3 is a little bit unorthodox, it's a very annoying way to play the Caro-Kann. c5. So in the advanced Caro-Kann with e5, c5 makes some sense. Does it also make sense here when I never actually put my pawn there? I don't know. This is fascinating. I mean, I can defend my center and then try to push this forward anyway. But what if I take? What is the idea? Because if they take my pawn, we trade the queens, right? If they go e6 to try to regain their pawn, I would play bishop to e3. And I'm always ready to take the next pawn and just hang on to this pawn, but this was a weird move. I've never seen that move in my life. Okay, so my opponent pushes this forward and probably wants to play e5 on the next turn, which is honestly very sensible. Now, I think, since e5 is coming, I probably need to develop some pieces, but I also want to get rid of this pawn. It seems like it could be a bit of a nuisance for me to deal with. Like, e5 is going to come in, of course. Whew. I'm also trying to do this in a way where, it would be easy for all of you to understand why I'm playing certain moves. Like now, this is defended. I'm almost thinking like maybe we can build up something like this where my opponent will just struggle to win the pawn back. And the move a5 will be well met with b5. You have to be very careful defending things with a b pawn, because if the a pawn comes in and you play a3 after pawn takes, a takes, you would be losing your rook. Okay, a6 is slow. That's a slow move. That move I don't like for my opponent. Now I could just take, actually. I mean, I could just take, and the reason I didn't take on the previous move after knight c6, I also could have taken maybe at this point, but I think now I'm going to take this pawn. Because really, black wanted a pawn there. A pawn is like the most nasty way to defend against your opponent's development. If the queen takes, I'm pretty happy trading the queens. I mean, I have an extra pawn. When the knight jumps in, it's not bad, but it's not actually threatening anything. And then I need to defend my position against, something. Against maybe some sort of fork. So my opponent might spot queen takes, knight takes, and then knight c2. But knight c2 doesn't actually exist as a threat now. And so I can trade the knight, maybe? Like, I want to develop my bishop and then maybe trade the knight, but I also could just trade the knight. I also could play with my bishop, but then it doesn't really matter, actually, which way I start. I think knight e2 is totally reasonable. So now if knight takes, we're going to trade the queen and the knight. If my opponent plays e5, which I think is the best move, I think keeping the tension is is a skill that 1700s definitely have. I'm also monitoring stuff like this. I think keeping the tension is one thing 1700s are bad at. They transform the position incorrectly. I think already this was a poor transformation. I think people are just not good at sensing in which type of way they need to transform the game. My last book for master level players, getting up to 2200, I really look at this type of thing, and here my opponent, e5 should be played in like a second, but it's actually not that simple, because if I take and the pawn is left there, I'm going to win the pawn because my opponent played too slow. This move was too slow. You cannot lose a pawn in the opening, especially with black, because you don't go first and then play slow. I don't think this is right. I think here we trade in a second, because either they lose the right to castle or that. Two backwards moves in a row really feels like they're losing momentum. And so now it's like, okay, I can develop my knight. I think there's nothing wrong with this move. I haven't gotten a piece into the game yet. And my knight is maybe even going to jump in there. My bishop is going to come out, like knight there. Okay, I can defend this pawn with my pawn. I can also play knight d5. And because my opponent just never really developed, it's actually very difficult to stop the move knight c7. It's almost impossible. It's kind of crazy, because they either have to move the king or the rook. If they move the rook, I would love if bishop f4 won the game, but unfortunately there is the move e5. But bishop f4 looks like it just wins the game. But then, I'm still threatening to go knight c7 check, and the king has to stay in the middle for the remainder of the game. So, this knight will then go here. Maybe my bishop will come out. I'm a little sad this bishop is stuck. I will have to get that bishop out either this way or by moving that knight. But again, you see I'm playing with energy. I've changed a little bit. I'm not just like, oh, develop all the pieces, don't move a piece twice in the opening. When you're a beginner, you learn certain principles, but as you get stronger, you capitalize on the situation that's in front of you. What are we doing? What? What is this? I think my opponent just panicked. I think my opponent was like, I'm going to win this pawn, and then I'm going to go here, but this doesn't work, surely. You talk about cool combinations. I can play bishop check and then long castle with the check if I really wanted to play a little bit more dramatic chess. I don't think that's necessary. But again, I actually wouldn't even be surprised if playing with energy is the best move. You can also move your king or move your rook. But so I've calculated bishop check. If f6, long castle, the king has to move there or there. It's probably going to move there. Look at this. It's going to move to e7, but then it's blocking two other pieces. And I would love, again, if I could get bishop f4, bishop d6, but after bishop f4, there's e5. Bishop d2, there's knight check. So I'm just going to bring my bishop back here. And even though I'm going to be losing a pawn, well, that move I didn't think was good, because this actually allows me to bring this knight back into the game. And then maybe king f7, and I can even go rook d8. But I get it. My opponent is trying to, run away. So let me just go bishop back to e3, and I'm preserving knight b6. So my opponent is going to take this pawn with a check. I'm going to go king b2. They're going to go back with the knight, and then I'm going to go knight b6, trapping the bishop. Or they play that. Okay, that's also a move. But I can still, I can attack the knight, obviously. But I don't think that really matters right now. I think I'm going to go knight back to b6, and I'm going to target this bishop. And obviously, the more pieces that we trade, the closer we are going to get to victory. Probably should have defended this pawn, but, it's a pawn, and I need to get the rest of my pieces in the game. My opponent is just simply down too much material. A rook is simply too much. And once I trade off enough pieces, yeah, they take, of course. King b2, I don't want to go king c2 or king b1's probably also okay, but let's go king b2. The knight is going to go back. And we're going to play this very, very simply. We are going to win the game instantly because my opponent resigns. That's okay, that works. Okay, so folks, a couple of things there. Number one, the opening lesson. If you want to crush the Caro-Kann, you generally should play one of two things. You should either play the advanced variation, which is very good, and I will play it in the next game. And after bishop f5, and this is in my e4 course. So again, I know there's paid stuff like the book. Unfortunately, there's no free samples of that. But if you want to try my E4 course 100% free, go to Chessly. It's in the description. Sign up for a trial. And actually, we are working on something cool on Chessly. Right now, Chessly is, you get 7 days free trial to do everything. We actually might change that so that you have free access all the time, but in limited quantities. but you can access any day. So you might actually be able to study the E4 course a little bit every day, forever for free. But we're working on that. Against this, I really like H4. This isn't my course. And against C5, I really like to take. And if you just learn those two lines, you're really going to win a lot of games. But the fantasy is also great because the idea is pawn takes, and then you just get this massive center. And there's a lot of cool lines in the fantasy as well. And I have never seen this move, though. This is an absolutely fascinating move. So I'm looking at the computer now, and both captures are good. But what about pawn takes, queen takes? Wow, pawn takes, queen takes, the computer wants 92. This is very non-standard. Very non-standard to kind of think like this. I thought this was a very natural move because, again, the time it takes black to win this pawn back, like let's say e6, you know, I'm just going to defend the pawn, and something like queen a5 check, two things work here, like c3, bishop takes, and a fork, or I can even just trade the queen like this, and now they can't actually win the pawn back. It's very important, right? It's very important you play with a little bit of energy, and now this is just protected. Like the pawn, they never got the pawn back, which is sort of the idea of giving up the D and C pawns. Like in the Queen's Gambit, you give up the C pawn, but you win it back very easily. But there's some moments where you actually don't win the pawn back. And you'll notice I immediately challenged it, and both b4 and pawn takes were good here. I think my opponent needed to go e5 here. They needed to maintain control in the center with a pawn. That is the best way you control the position in the middle of the board, is with a pawn. So you had to go with a pawn. And then still the best move for me was b4. And if black went a5, then I would have then, you know, maybe gone a3, something like this, although this is not the best. The computer wants now to take advantage of the position, play fast, and look at this, go little bishop and queen action using this open diagonal. You have two pawns on the dark squares in the middle of the board, which means the corresponding light square diagonal is weak, since they committed all their pawns to, you know, to the opposite color. It's cool. I mean, this is all... What is that? Looked like mold fuzz. Oh, that's just like sunlight. Wow. Okay, anyway, sorry, a little bit distracted. This is really interesting, right? And then, you know, you're immediately putting pressure. Now, the way the game went, a6 is too slow. The advantage goes from 0.9 to 1.9. It doubles because it's too slow. And again, a lot of you here would not transform the position right now. Because I talk about keeping the tension, right? Keeping the tension, but then I talk about taking and transforming. So that decision-making of when to keep the tension and when to transform the position is something that a 1700 doesn't always have instinctively correct. And if you want to get to 2000, which is the whole point of the slow run, the whole point of, you know, my book series, you have to know when to do it. And having an unstable piece in the center is not good enough. You know, when your opponent has too many ways to trade off your piece, yeah, 92, top move of the computer, and now black is in a lot of trouble. I said that you probably have to play e5, but when you go back, it goes from 2.7, you know, it's around the same, but it just feels very passive. Knight c3, knight c6, and now, you know, this is the best move. Black is in a lot of trouble. Black should have went just rook b8, but probably saw bishop f4 and missed that they could block. Still, apparently, bishop f4 is the top move of the computer, but I would never play that here. I would probably play something like a3, make this very stable. You might ask yourself, isn't a3 a slow move, Levy? You just told me a3 was okay, but you're telling me a6 is too slow. Guys, you have to understand the difference. With black, you go second. So not only do you not have the first strike at the opponent, you have also lost a pawn, right? So when you lose a pawn with black, you need to play fast to win it back. If you play slow, you're just going to be down a pawn. And, you know, here already, black is just down a pawn that they're never going to win back. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool game, you know, and I hope you like the way I handled this, just immediately removing this knight, and obviously a lot of this is non-standard. This is a very non-standard pawn structure, so a lot of it is also monitoring, you know, the opponent's threats, you know, throughout that process. All right, my opponent plays d4. I've played the Dutch in a few games. Maybe we'll play Grunfeld, but I feel like we're gonna get like a London. Ooh, we have a Trompowsky. Wow. This is one of my favorite openings that I like to play with the black pieces, with the white pieces. Okay, Trompowsky's tricky because oftentimes they want to take this this knight. But what I'm going to do, I'm not going to let them take the knight and damage our pawns. I'm going to go e6 so that if they ever take, okay, they play e3. And in general, the best way to play against this is to just play like a regular queen's pawn opening. You know, play something like d5, play something like c5. D and c pawns go together in queen's pawn positions. Ew, this is not the way I play Trompowsky. Now we just have very chill development. In fact, that d-pawn taking gave us the center. So we can just develop this knight. We also could have castled there. We can castle now. We can always play this move because we don't know if they're actually going to take our knight or not. Yeah, most people don't. Fine. For the record, I actually think I can already not lazily castle, and I can play e5 because it will not allow knight f3, because then I would just fork. And I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to play this move. I'm going to show you that, you really shouldn't surrender the center. Yeah, b4, but I mean, I can go back to many places. I mean, this move is the most active, but this move blocks the pin and enables my piece to move. But I mean, I don't really know. I mean, at this point, I think it's a little bit too early to analyze. I mean, they might charge at us here, but the beautiful thing about playing principled good chess is that when they attack from the side, you can transfer pieces the other way and be totally okay. Now, I'm not going to rush with this move. I just like the fact that I'm occupying the center. This, just like last game, is a little bit too slow. I think castling now is perfectly reasonable. We castle the king, we get the king out of the middle, and, next, and the reason I would have really liked the bishop there is I don't like this pin. I might need to move my, oh my goodness. I might need to move my queen to get out of this pin. My opponent is setting up queen c2, bishop takes knight, and then checkmate. I mean, the fact that they think I am that stupid is honestly kind of hilarious. I'm enjoying myself. But it's actually not that easy to stop this. The only way to stop it is really to go e4. Now, do I react now and go e4? Or do I react only when queen c2 appears? And I think I should only react when queen c2 appears. So let's develop another piece. Why not? Now they're going to go queen. Oh my god, what is this? Like, at some point, I think I can just maul them in the middle of the board. I think if you wait too long, I mean, even g5 to just totally remove the pin and just like march forward looks very promising for me. I mean, I can also just bring another piece, right? I haven't fully developed my pieces yet here. I wanted to go queen d6 to get out of the pin. So d4 with this pin, I need to calculate knight e4, but then I have takes, and then maybe takes. I mean, guys, I gotta tell you, there is something to be said for attacking the middle of the board while your opponent's king is there. And I mean, I think everything to me in my intuition is screaming that d4 has to be an okay move. And if queen c2 is played now, I can even go g5. Kick out the bishop. Even here, guys, I think I can take with a knight. Because if pawn takes, queen takes, attacking the bishop, attacking the rook, attacking mate. But, okay, I mean, I have to take like this. I think this is normal. But knight e4 here. Knight e4 is a little bit of an issue, but I still think I can play g5. And again, it's all because I just have a good setup of pieces. Okay. But I mean, I don't like this for white. The rook is about to get lined up. Like, let's take this. I'm just chopping down the position here. And now, I mean, just even a simple improving move like rook e8 looks really devastating. Unfortunately, I don't have like a... I mean, I could jump in with my knight still, but I don't think that would be a very good move right now. So let's play, I mean, rook e8. Trying to figure out what the best move is here. I can also maybe go for a knight e5. Let's go rook e8. Rook e8 can't be bad. We've got the bishop. We've got this. Everything is looking nice for us here. I just want to win this game in emphatic fashion, you know? I don't want to... All right, here's my emphatic fashion. Bishop here. I have a very simple idea. I'm opening up the diagonal, but I'm also opening up my rook to see this pawn. I can take this, and then I can probably put my knight in the middle. I can also probably just go queen e7 and win a pawn. Like, ultimately, you can play this very easily. I'm kind of a vicious player, though. I don't want to just win a pawn. I mean, I really want to smash the opponent for playing the way that they've played. So let's take and go knight to d5. Let's play really, really nasty chess. Or knight d4 now with the king in the middle looks even worse. The king's in the middle. We are just beating up the center of the board here. I do have to be a little careful. This is still vaguely possible if I move my knight. But this is a real issue. I mean, the fact that my opponent has left the king in the middle there for too long, knight e4 to trade this off is okay, but I don't want to let them trade off the material. I'm going to go knight d5. Now, I think my opponent is going to try for something here, but I always have pawn to g6. But this is falling. It's going to fall. You play e4, I jump in to f4. I attack the queen, I attack the pawn. Also, e4, this is not even a threat because the queen is there. Maybe knight c3, take the bishop, take the other bishop. Queen f6, look at queen f6. Nobody can protect the rook in the corner. You have to defend it through tactics. You have to defend it by castling, which again, as a 1700, I'm not sure this is very obvious. But I can't actually take that rook because there will be a check and my queen will be lost. Huh? Yeah, how about that for seeing the future? You know, I can't actually go and win that rook in a lot of these positions, you know? So, yeah, tricky stuff. Tricky stuff. Okay. Short castle. Now this is gone. But do I have anything better? And what do I take it with, right? I can play knight f4 as well, but I don't like knight f4. I don't see an immediate win after knight f4. I can also go knight c3 and take the bishop. But I don't think any of those are as good as knight takes here. So the pawn's gone. Rook e1 could be a thing. And then I can't... Ooh, that is... Okay. So my opponent fell for the oldest trick in the book. They calculated the more forcing move, which is check, and they're correct. Well, they're actually not correct. It's not safe, because then I would go there. But I actually think rook takes is even more brutal, because this attack stays, and the queen is hanging. And now you can resign. Now you can resign. And this was a masterclass in dealing with a king left in the middle of the board. Yeah, unfortunately, this is a check. Unfortunately, this is just a check, and they resign. And that was how to beat a 1700 that leaves their king in the center of the board. You know what's incredible? So far, the 1700s are weaker than the 1500s. That's fascinating, isn't it? They are weaker. They are playing a little bit of a weaker game, which is quite fascinating. Let's analyze. So it was a Trompowsky, and I was going to play a Grunfeld defense. The Trompowsky players oftentimes will take this knight to damage your pawn structure, and I just prefer to play a more fluid pawn structure, so that's why I played e6, and this is the way you play queen's pawn. Now, they need to overhaul their Trompowsky repertoire, my opponent, because they did not play it like Gotham, and I would argue I am one of the world's leading Trompowsky practitioners. I have beaten dozens of grandmasters with it. Granted, those are blitz games, but still, I have played thousands of games in the opening. You never take this pawn, ever in a million years. You also kind of have to know, what you're playing after e6, and there are some subtleties between the opening setups, but anyway, you never go here. I mean, after this, black just has a better position, and then I went knight c6, h6, and yeah, I can castle, or I can already seize the center. b4 is another weakening move, and, the bishop on e7 would have served the nice purpose of me being able to move my knight, but the bishop on b6 points at the middle and allows me to attack the center of the board. And already here, guys, already here, with this simple retreating idea, the computer here wants to play g5 and d4. It wants to weaken the king and kick out the bishop to regain mobility of the knight, so the knight can actually move. The computer already wants me to play d4. I'm looking at it now. Yeah, d4 here would have been quite brutal. I wanted to be a little bit more prudent, but, something like this could have happened, and then I would have kicked out the bishop, and then I would have smashed the position open, and we would have been immediately winning. But again, I'm trying to also balance out with some general concepts, like maybe finish your development first. But yeah, actually, already d4 is absolutely vicious. And it's quite interesting that it's move 11, and white has already made some fatal inaccuracies, just playing some weird chess, right? And, now d4 comes in, and we shredded open the position, rook e8, bishop d5, yeah, knight d4 is already there as a possibility. I took the knight, which wasn't the best move to play like this, but here my opponent needed to play rook e1. And what did I say about 1700s poorly transforming the game? This was a perfect example. Walking directly into the move rook takes e3. Here, rook e1 would have been fine. It would have put pressure on my knight and my rook. And then here, if I moved this, like there, that would just lose. Because first of all, I guess there's queen takes, so that was stupid. But let's say I go here, that also loses a knight. Let's say I go back. They could actually trade here. They could play queen e8, and then rook e8, and they could move the bishop, and the game goes on. When you have such a dominant presence in a central square, you kind of have to think more brutally. So queen f6 or knight d4 hitting the queen, and then if they take with the bishop, attacking the rook goes here, queen comes out, you know, I'm building behind my knight, my powerful knight that I'm supporting there, and then I double up again, etc. And then I would be threatening checkmate, and then white would need to defend, and then when you have so many pieces swarming, there's almost always a tactic. It's a very nice tactical move here. The idea here is that the queen now has access to c1. The rooks see each other, so after something like take, if the bishop takes, I have a discover check on the king. If the queen takes, I have rook e1 check. I have all sorts of tactics here, like, I mean, this is winning with bishop e5, bishop here, bishop takes, queen takes, rook h1. Nice little combo, deflecting the king away from the defense. And even if you go to an endgame here, even if you go here, 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 you have like 2 extra pawns with black, which is winning. So really the lesson here is, this is how you attack a player who doesn't get their king out of the middle of the board, right? They never got their king out. They needed to go knight e2 and castle. And when they don't do that, you then have to capitalize based on the position in front of you, right? And this is in that book. I have a chapter in that book. I have a copy of the book, but it's not in the room right now. But I have a chapter, I would show you, the chapter in that book on attacking. And there is a section that is literally how to attack a king that hasn't castled yet. You have an opponent that hasn't castled their king. You know, how to win at chess next level is designed to get you to about 1700. That's when, maybe even beyond that, maybe those lessons still apply, but this is a perfect example of how to use early material developmental lead to attack properly, right? So, now, I played e4 last game, let's play e4 again. I doubt we get 2 Caro-Kanns, but we have e4, e5. And now there's a lot of different openings. I mean, the Vienna is the opening that I've recommended for many, many years. Also, now people kind of know what to do against it a little bit more. I'm going to go knight f3. Let's see what my opponent plays. Maybe they're going to play some gambit. Okay, they play like this. There's the Italian, there's this, you know, there's the Scotch opening, which is very solid, very good opening. There's the Ponziani. Let's play the Scotch and see what happens. If people know what to do as 1700s. Many people take here, which is just not a good move. Knight f6 is very reasonable. The way I like to play here is I like to take if they play knight f6, not if they attack. But let's just play bishop d3 and castle. And the point is, many people will go d5 and abandon these 2 pawns. And people are very bad at playing positions with doubled pawns generally. So this is also, I have a course on the Scotch, very simple course. Most people go bishop c5, bishop b4 check, d5. d5 is okay. c5 is actually maybe a huge mistake, because I think I can go e5 now. In general, if you can attack a knight in the middle of the board and it doesn't have a safe place to go except back, I think e5 is just winning, by the way. I was going to castle, but I think they needed to stop me from doing this, because knight d5, I mean, at a minimum, I have bishop to e4. At a minimum. And at a maximum, I might have even more than that. And this looks like it works, but I can just castle. And you cannot play chess like this. Maybe I had something even better there. But whatever. We're castling. They cannot take the pawn because of this. And knight d5, bishop e4 is just crushing. So, yeah. I mean, queen f3, bishop e4 just wins a pawn at least. But can I win even more than that? c4, knight b4, something like that. Let's go here. Queen e5 is still, of course, losing. They have to go c6. They have to go c6 now. They don't have a choice. And then at a minimum, I was going to win a pawn. At a maximum, I could win some... What? Guys, 10-move win with the Scotch at 1700. We're just up a piece. We just have an extra piece. We win the game. I mean, I don't know. I can do anything. Just up a piece. What happened? It's a 1700? This is crazy. I mean, I was having insane games at 1500. What are the 1500s doing, man? Is that what we call ELO hell? Let's just develop some pieces. They're going to go bishop e7 and castle, because what else can they do? Already I can just... They're going to get their queen trapped. f5 is just trapping the queen. Like I'm... Oh my goodness. I have to go d5 now. But then I'm going to take and take. Actually, d5, I can maybe play queen f4, push the queen back, and then just like go directly at the king. But let's just play simple chess. I mean, this is crazy. Yeah, there's d5. I'm going to take the queen. They're going to take me. I'm going to take with check. If we trade the rooks, of course, I'm happy. Yeah, we're going to trade the rooks, and I'm going to take on e4. I mean, this is just game over. I'm going to play bishop g5 next. Just trade everything like this. Just get all the pieces off the board. Don't allow my opponent to get anything, you know? Bishop here, c3. Rook f1, just bring the rook. Knight d6 check. Knight takes pawn. Could have played knight d6 on this last move. Gonna be ruthless. Gonna be ruthless. Just completely, you know, rook and bishop, you have to win this position all the time. This has to be a 100% success rate of a victory. The Scotch opening's very nice, I have to say. Scotch opening, very chill opening. Couple of lines you have to learn that black can go for, and you know, most people in the beginning of the game are taking this knight, which is bad. But if you just play simple games, just castle, get your pieces out, like, as you can see, I mean, people just, they make mistakes so early, still in the opening phase, and if you just have some knowledge of openings, like, I don't know why my opponent is thinking now. They should have thought before they blundered. They blundered a piece, and now they're thinking. So, now what I haven't had is I haven't had an opponent stall out the clock. That I haven't had so far on the slow run. Gonna come back. Game is easy now. Game is easy now. To be honest, I can put the rook behind the pawn. There is no rook to d2, and I just push this pawn. And the truth is, at some point, black is going to have to lose the rook for my pawn. Even if I lose my pawn, it doesn't matter, because then it's just pawns and a knight. So king f7 is probably the best move here from a... Oh, you do not run in front of the pawn. That is not what you do. You have to... Yeah, this is over. This is over. It doesn't matter if I lose this pawn. It makes no difference. Once the rook is gone, it doesn't matter if black is stockfish. Yeah, this is over. This is just not... Yeah, knight e5 and easy peasy. I can even sack my knight for one of the pawns or both of the pawns. My opponent resigns. Guys, play the Scotch, man. Play the Scotch. It's such a nice opening. It's so straightforward. I mean, this was a cool video. I gotta tell you, like, I feel like all of these games, there was a couple of nuggets of info to learn. Like, in this position, black has to go d5, and if black doesn't play d5, black is instantly worse. A lot of people don't go d5 because they're worried about e5 here, but this is a very different story, because now the knight has mobility, and the knight can go here and attack this pawn. And if you castle, you know, black can play bishop c5, and black is actually doing something. And if h3, black is winning a pawn, and if you pin the knight like this, there's queen f6 defending the pawn, and you can't play f4, right? So, like, black's mechanics work in the position a lot better with this. But what I like to play here, first of all, you can just take, and they're going to take, and then you castle, and they're going to play like bishop e7, and your setup is super straightforward. I mean, you play h3 to stop this, they castle, and then you play, like, you know, knight d2, knight f3, b3, bishop b2. And black, like, does something like this, b3, bishop b7, bishop b2, and it's a very chill game. You have these bishops pointed in this direction. Sometimes black goes here, you go rook e1, queen e2, knight e4, you trade some pieces, and you play a game. You play a game of chess, but this is the position you're supposed to get as an 1800. Up until like 1500, you play the Scotch, people take this and just get a worse position. And then they try to trade queens with you, and you go here, attacking this, they go here, and you just, you know, you develop your knight, develop your bishop, bishop, castle, use your pawns. Like, the Scotch just gets you very easy games. Bishop c5 is also possible. Here I don't like to take. I like this, with little tricks in mind, and, you know, queen f6 is the main move, and c3, and then d6, and you learn this line, and you get a very, very easy game of chess. So Scotch is nice. The Ponziani is also a very tricky opening, c3 and d4. So in this video, you learned how to attack a king in the center of the board. You learned how to, you know, I suggested the fantasy Caro-Kann to you, which you should check out. Learn the Scotch. All of these things you can learn on Chessly, by the way, or in some YouTube videos that I have, because I think I have videos on both of these openings. Yeah, that first game was an interesting way of handling a pawn-up opening and how to quickly consolidate and then punish the opponent. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. 3 games in a relatively short format, but it's all right. We will continue our climb in episode 44. Get out of here.